It's great to be back at ALEC. I've traveled to 31 states this year, so many of your states I've been in. It's a real privilege to go into states and see activists on the ground working with state legislators, helping state legislators to see their role in restoring a federal system to the United States of America. It's up to you guys and it's up to these grassroots activists, so for me, it's a real honor to serve them. One of the reasons I like coming to ALEC so much is I feel like I understand the importance of ALEC. And I've been coming to ALEC for a couple of years, and it was really eye-opening the first time I attended ALEC. To see all these legislators, all these private sector members come together around the principles of federalism, limited government, it's incredibly inspiring to see that. And I think that people don't understand that, people on the outside of ALEC. Some of your legislative compatriots who don't come to ALEC, who might be like-minded, I think they don't understand how important ALEC is. I believe right now in American history, ALEC plays a pivotal role, a role not attempted nor fulfilled by any other organization. You know, the statistics are astounding. You know, there are over 200 state legislative leaders, Senate presidents, House majority leaders, whips that belong to ALEC. That's an extraordinary number, right? You guys should be really proud of that. A full 25% of the members of the United States Congress are former ALEC members. Multiple presidential candidates and former presidential candidates are members of ALEC. I mean, these are extraordinary things that not only the general public doesn't know, but I'm sure the grassroots activists mostly don't know. And I believe many members of the legislatures, state legislatures, don't know. And it's really unfortunate. You know, Ronald Reagan placed an incredible amount of faith in ALEC. In the 1980s, he came to ALEC and helped them form the first task force. I think the most important, my personal bias, the Federalism Task Force. And he saw ALEC as the important vessel for restoring federalism to the United States of America. That's how important it is. All of us look back at Ronald Reagan as the iconic conservative president. He had the forward vision to see ALEC as the place where we could restore federalism in America. And I think, from my opinion, that's still what ALEC is today. So one of the things that I would call on everybody in here to do, especially those of you in the state legislatures, but also private sector members like me, is to tell your friends, to tell your colleagues, to tell your constituents how important ALEC is. This country will not be saved in Washington, D.C. Do you guys agree with me? So, not if we save the country, but when we save the country, it will be because the state legislators and their nonprofit partners, their private sector partners, step up to save the country from the states. And this is the place where that all begins. You can see that in evidence because the left attacks ALEC continuously. You know, they don't attack things that aren't successful, conservative things that aren't successful. They don't bother with it. But they see ALEC as this central communications hub, a central planning hub, a place where you guys come together and share best practices around the idea of federalism and limited government, right? Private markets. This is where it happens here at ALEC, and that's why it's constantly under assault. So it's imperative for each of us who is a member of ALEC, who supports ALEC, to not just come here and take from the organization. It's easy to come here and to go to the great workshops and to go to the task forces and to listen to great speakers like we're going to have this morning. It's easy to come and take. That's what we normally do when we come to these events, and ALEC is here as a service organization that allows us to do that. Take away great model legislation, take away great ideas for things you can do in your legislature. We learn as nonprofits from each other here. There's a lot of taking that takes place when we come here, but I think the most important thing that we can take away from this meeting of ALEC is to give back to ALEC. And we give back by telling our colleagues, by telling our compatriots, by telling our fellow elected officials that they should and must belong to ALEC. Are you guys committed to doing that? Let's grow ALEC together. So it's my pleasure today to introduce somebody who's become a good friend of mine, a mentor, and somebody that I admired for a long time in the United States Senate. I know a lot of you feel the same way, and this is retired Senator Tom Coburn. And Senator Coburn is an iconic figure in American federal government. And you would see him on television standing against the wave of opposition from his own party and from the opposing party. I had the privilege of attending Tom's going away party when he retired from the Senate. And I felt really out of place. I'm just a grassroots activist. All these senators that you see on TV and congressmen, important people were there. And And I was kind of off in a corner watching this all and just feeling sort of surreal. And the most interesting thing about this whole event was just the tone of the event. And first of all, they were mercilessly roasting Tom, which I appreciated immensely. They're having a great time at his expense, but to listen to the jokes, it was incredible because you got to hear the character of the man from his own colleagues in the Senate and in the House. And over, you heard story after story, and people telling them with good humor about how difficult Tom was for them to deal with because, amazingly, he always wanted to do what he believed, right? Extraordinary in Washington, D.C., that's the butt of jokes or the subject of derision sometimes. But what you heard was story after story where Tom Coburn said, I won't do that because I don't believe in that. I won't do that because that's not what I was elected to do. I won't do that because that violates the oath of office where I promised to uphold the United States Constitution. So having a chance to work with a man like this, having a chance to learn from a man like this, having a chance this morning to hear from a man like this is really an extraordinary privilege. And so it is my personal privilege to introduce my friend, my colleague, retired Senator Tom Coburn.